Hey there. Before we jump into today's episode, I just wanted to ask you something really quickly. Are you tired of doing shift work all alone? Do you feel like no one gets the fatigue, the chaos, the missed meals, the mental load, and the isolation? Well, you're not alone anymore because we've created something just for you. The Shift Workers Collective, an online community just for shift workers, by a shift worker who's lived it for over 40 years and wishes I'd had what's in there when I very first started shift work myself. Inside, you'll get monthly webinars, live Q&As, downloadable resources, recipe books, and a community of people who not only get it, but they will get you. Now, research shows that community and support is what we all really need. So, if you're ready to go from just surviving to absolutely thriving in shift work, the link is down in the show notes. So come join us inside the Shift Workers Collective, because now you don't have to do it alone anymore.
On the night shift.
Roger Sutherland, founder of A Healthy Shift, veteran law enforcement officer, top man, 40 years on the job. Rog, good morning.
Good morning to you, Tony. How are you this
Do you
morning?
remember the first car that you drove as an officer?
It would have been an XD
Falcon.
panel van.
Panel van?
Well, the divisional van.
Okay, so it was
Paddy
definitely
wagon.
a paddy wagon. So it was a van in those days.
Yeah, it was.
What sort of do you recall what sort of training of that? Was there any training?
Oh, yeah.
There was.
Well, we used to
Driver
have
training.
different class driving. There was the C class, which got you, there was the D class, which allowed you to drive a car, just drive it for transport.
Same license as I would have had.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
But you had to go and get your D class, so you had to learn how to drive a police vehicle that way. And then that was not for lights and sirens or anything like that. That was just to drive it. Then you would get your C class, which was for your divisional van, to drive that, and you were allowed to drive that in a lights and sirens situation, but that also allowed you to drive the car in a lights and sirens situation. Then you...
So an 18-year-old would have had
20 years old I was.
20.
I was 20,
Right.
Yep. So I could drive at high speed with that because there was no limitations as there are now on the cars. And then I went to what was the Traffic Operations Group or the Highway Patrol at that time, where I got my B class. We went up to Puckapunyal where they closed the road off, and we just drove like cut cats. And in fact, I saw a police car disappear off the end of a bend one day. We were chasing it. And it just disappeared off the end of the bend and went up the dirt road, which was the safety. See you. Just a cloud of dust.
And who would have trained them? Drivers themselves or other officers?
There was the driving school. Vic Pol had their own.
Okay.
Well, I think they still got their own driving school, but they had their own driving school which taught people how to drive. It was kind of funny because you drive to work, and then you go in the driving school cars, and we used to push hard, these unmarked cars that we'd be driving hard through traffic, and because there wasn't speed cameras and there wasn't the scrutiny from the public and dash cams and all those sort of things.
All that was gone.
There wasn't any. There was never. Yeah,
so the old homicide thing, and you were there way after the old homicide TV show, but it was very basic, very simple. Vehicles, they were pretty much just off the...
literally off the assembly line.
And badged.
And they would then badge them. Yeah, that's exactly how it was.
And you may have had a two-way.
You had the radio in it, which was VHF back then too. So there was only 6 channels. Geez, I'm really showing my age now. Can you just stop asking questions like that?
Did you ever meet Leonard Teal?
No, I didn't meet Leonard Teal, no.
Did you ever meet Frank Banner?
No, I didn't meet Frank Banner either. But, I know exactly who you're talking about. Or what about Tom Cronin? What was he?
Paul Cronin.
Paul Cronin. He used to call in on Shirl. He used to talk to Shirl on the radio.
We love Shirl. Now, who played the role of Shirl? 133693. Who played the role of Shirl? 133693.
Well, Melissa's my Shirl. She's the one that does the police radio. Yep.
So she sits there all
12 hours,
sending out, receiving that information, and then processing some of that information and heading it out to...
Yep, what she does is there's a call taker that takes the job, then it hits her screen, and then she reads it out, gives it to the police on the road, takes the result of the job, and the units mark themselves on the way, they mark themselves out at the events, and she's monitoring and dealing with all of that.
Which is a wonderful thing to go, and she's beautifully spoken, which makes a difference. I think the other morning we were talking about those when you go into a, let's just call it a drive-through fast food chain.
Yes.
And sometimes they go, and you go, excuse me? And you've got no idea what they're saying.
The pilot on the plane?
A bit of both on the pilot on the plane's another one, or some of the great the front of house staff who are reading stuff. And
Flinders Street Station?
That's exactly right. You've got no idea what's being said.
Why do they do that?
I have no idea.
And how come their bosses are allowing them to get away with that?
Apparently, it's all part of the protocol, and so long as it's said, doesn't matter if nobody can understand a word, doesn't seem to matter.
I think it does. But anyway, I don't know.
I would have thought it does. We're here to talk about a healthy shift. Now, your good news is, and let me just share this with the audience, for those that are shift workers, jump on board and join us, 133693. You've been invited as an associate investigator on a 4-year study of what, who, how, why, when and where.
Yeah, I've been invited. It's very humbling. After 40 years in the co-ops, within 12 months of retiring, my passion, I'm actually getting involved in a research team. I've been invited by the Central Queensland University as part of a research team that's going to be doing a study on looking at and establishing the healthiest way for workers to eat at night for metabolic health. Now, I was one of the very first to put out there that we should be fasting overnight, and I've spoken about that. And in fact, I've got a free ebook on my website that people can download to learn why we should fast, and also
as a worker, we should fast.
Oh, everyone should be fasting overnight. Yes.
So
yes.
so sorry to interrupt you on that.
No, that's fine.
That's a great story. So you would suggest that someone like me, or the zillions of other people that are working overnight and listening right now, you can join us too, by the way, 133693. Should not be overeating, or if at all, anything whilst we're up working.
No, because our circadian rhythm literally shuts our digestive tract and everything down from the onset of melatonin. So once the dim light occurs and we get that dim light melatonin onset, what actually happens is we don't metabolize and store nutrients the same way. And in fact, the analogy is it just screams at us. It's gone to sleep, and then we start forcing food into it. So it has to wake our system up to actually process it. So the fact that we're awake and we're eating, we're still shocking because our system, because that circadian rhythm is still running on a normal diurnal circadian rhythm.
Really? So you're saying that if I have a little foosy come 3:30, 3:45 this morning of some maybe dried fruits, some apricot and some pear, that's not necessarily a great thing.
It's not, but you've got to sustain yourself at the same time as well. And that's why, Tony, this we've got this research happening, and I've been invited because they know what I'm like around this, and I can use my platform.
We should point out that you've been training, you've been reading and studying this for a long time.
Oh yeah, I want to make a point that I'm an evidence-based practitioner in what I study. So what I say and what I do is, and the researchers, there's professors and doctors, there's 9 on this team, and I'm one of the people on the team. We're going to be using shift workers to actually and feeding them different things and seeing what the impact of that is on their system, so that this I can tell you, Tony, this is going to shape the future of eating on shift work worldwide. The Central Queensland University is a real authority worldwide on shift work and eating, and this study will shape the way we instruct shift workers moving forward.
I'm surprised your university in Queensland has jumped on this, where perhaps universities here have perhaps not jumped on board.
No. Well,
do we read anything into that?
No. The Central Queensland University, I think you'll find, is where the team is that does that. Okay. They're out of Adelaide. They're not even out of Queensland. They're out of Adelaide, which is interesting because there's a campus for the Central Queensland University in Adelaide. but Monash are very big.
Oh, that's good.
Massive. They're
That's
very,
good.
very big in studying shift work and sleep more. But I follow all of these researchers. So when I was invited to go into this research, and then I looked at my name on the list amongst the people who I watched their research to learn all about shift work, I'm truly humbled by it, and it's really exciting.
Look at all these texts. We were talking about Madlock Police. Michelle Forden, I think, played Shirl. Lots of other people saying it was Lorraine Desmond who was
That's
Shirl.
interesting. Don't know.
T-Mac, introduction is really lovely. Thank you, Nursen. Appreciate that. Tony, I had an ex-police panel van. What do they do now? Do you know what happens to a lot of those former cop cars? Because they used to be available, wouldn't they? They would be sold afterwards.
Yeah. Well, they're sold. But the thing is, they're using the Rangers and the pods come off the back of them. They got to the stage where they were taking the pods off the back.
What's a pod?
The pod, which is the cage in the back of
the
them.
cage,
so
right.
they can lift it out and then it just returns back to them.
We're going to put you into the pod.
Chuck you in the pod. Yeah, well, it was a pod because it would go from one to the next to the next.
Okay,
to the
so
next.
that would be preserved.
Yes, that's right.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
if you would want to preserve it anyway.
Have you ever been in one?
In the back?
Yeah.
No.
Only putting someone in there.
Well, I could tell you a very funny story about
Go on,
that.
please.
I was working with a trainee one day when I was at Malvern. I'm taking you back to 1987, 89.
What a
at
very
Malvern.
good year. Mm.
And I was working with a young trainee, and we were wrestling with an offender that we couldn't get into the back of the van. And I actually I yelled at the offender in very colourful language, "Will you get in the back of the van?"
Or words to that effect.
Or words to that effect. And the next minute I hear this voice, "What do you want me to do now?" And I looked, and the trainee was in the back of the van looking at the back of the van. I kid you not. He was the one that jumped in the back of the van and said, "What do you want me to do now?"
So just a young
Connie. Yeah.
Oh, golly. Do you want to say hello to Captain Elfie at Paul Arlington? Hello, Captain.
Greetings, Tony.
Morning. Do you know Roger? Roger's here with us as well.
Is Roger in the aviation business?
Yeah, no. Not yet.
Not yet.
But if all the other projects go pear-shaped, it's a possibility.
That's a possibility.
I was just going to say that every time you went into, I guess the throwaway thing is someone controls you, and then like a Melbourne-Sydney flight, and you had to hold, and then you get into Sydney, and look, everything's up. It might have changed now. I've been retired for 8 years.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, how's this? And we all heard this. Taxing out, holding to, and American Airlines said through the departure frequency, said, "Thanks very much. This captain had his last flight, and we'd like to say to you that you are the second best air traffic controllers."
Oh, a nice compliment.
Done.
Yeah. Second best?
Second best, he said. And then obviously some guy in the tower or something said, "Who's the best?" He said,
Haven't met him
"The
yet.
rest of the world."
Yeah, good on you, Captain. Well done. Very, very funny. Roger, you sound very much like somebody by the name of Litwin from Men's Talk. What does that mean?
I don't know that.
No.
Litwin from Men's Talk.
Litwin from Men's Talk.
Paul Litwin from Men's Talk.
You'll have to let us know.
I will.
Text ending in 223. We'll do this when we come back. Plenty of time for your calls. 133 693. Roger Sutherland is here. He coaches people that essentially work shift work. If you are a shift worker, we'd love to hear from you. 133 693 for Australia overnight. Hello to you. Good morning, wherever you are, right around Australia. Certainly not even morning air yet in WA, but you can join us as well on your normal talkback number to come straight through to the program. Be part of it, 133 882. Love you to join us wherever you are. As Donnie did earlier, fired up about the election coming up on the weekend. Gav's in Portland. Morning, Gavin.
Morning, mate. You were talking about eating at night and that. Well, I'm a truck driver and we drive at night and we eat all the bloody time.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But what we're doing is we're looking at what we're going to be doing over the next 4 years is researching what is optimal, because it is not optimal for you to be eating overnight, regardless, whether you're a truck driver, a normal human being, regardless of what you are, it's less than optimal to be eating, which is why a lot of truck drivers carry a lot of weight. Hey, look, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but I've just got another quick question for you. Are you sick of feeling like you're the only one struggling through shift work? Well, you're not. And you don't have to do it alone anymore. It's a confusing world out there, and nothing feels designed for us shift workers at all, does it? And this is exactly why we've created the Shift Workers Collective, an online community which is built for shift workers by a shift worker who's lived it for over 40 years. I get you. Inside the community, you'll get ongoing education, monthly shift work specific webinars, live Q&A sessions, downloadable tools and resources made just for shift workers, and most importantly, a community that truly gets it and gets you. So if you're ready to go from surviving to thriving in shift work, follow the link in the show notes. Come and join us inside the Shift Workers Collective, because you don't have to do it alone anymore.
Oh, well, I'm not. I'm only 85 kilos. I'm a small truck driver, but I eat like a horse.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. What sort of food, out of interest, what would you eat overnight?
Pies, steak sandwiches, salad sandwiches.
I eat pies. How unusual.
I eat pies, steak sandwiches, yeah.
And
chocolate milk at Big M's?
Yeah, into the iced coffees.
Yeah, you'd be one of those people that's just, we all hate, because you can eat anything and it doesn't impact on you. Yeah. But it will catch up with you.
No, and I have healthy food as well, but
yeah, good for you.
90% of the time it's,
all
iced
food's
coffee,
healthy.
pies and all that sort of stuff.
Remember, all food's healthy. It's the quantity that is the problem. So everything in moderation. But I think the most important is to be aware, because it is not helping your system in any way whatsoever. And I understand you're awake and you need to fuel yourself, but it's about what we do. And this is what we're going to look at with the research as to what is the optimal way to fuel yourself overnight.
Could you imagine, Gav, doing a drive, working overnight, and maybe not eating from, let's say, 11 p.m. Through until 5 or 6 the next morning?
Yep.
Oh, no.
You couldn't do it.
How do that? You got to have something in the belly.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. All of my clients, I help them with the fast, and we structure the fast a particular way, and they come out of the night shift, they sleep better, they come out of the night shift a lot quicker and feeling a lot better.
I agree with that. Like the other night, for breakfast, I had a roast and hit the bed and slept like anything.
And you did or you didn't? Sorry?
I did. I slept like anything. The missus reckons I was snoring my head off.
Beautiful. Love that for you.
Well
I really do, but you're the sort of person that everybody hates. I'm sorry about that. But you're so blessed to be in that position. That's fantastic.
Yeah, good on you, Gav. Keep in touch. Good to have you on the program. Tony, I was a flight attendant with Qantas and flew with the great Captain Elfie. I think maybe Captain Elfie thought you may have been Nathan Kosh.
Oh, yes, maybe.
Where we do talk about aviation. So forgive, if you will, of course, Captain, it's not Nathan Kosh. We're actually talking about shift work as opposed to vets and jets. Nathan, as you know, is a captain, Qantas captain. So they would know each other, no doubt. If you would like to join the program, 133693, plenty of room on the board, you'll get through straight away, particularly for shift workers, those that have been doing shift work for a long time, love you long time, or have a sustained professional life working overnight. I often feel for, those that deliver babies. So the great Mr. Mays in Ballarat, no longer with us. He delivered daughter number 1 and daughter number 2 in Ballarat.
Yep.
Mr. Mays was an extraordinary human being on many levels, but he came into, my recollection is, he came into the hospital at about 10:30, and he arrived in a black dinner suit.
Come straight from dinner.
Well, he'd been at a function or a ball by from my memory, and then he said, "Look, baby's definitely on the way." Talking about Jamie, and he said Jamie will arrive around about 2:03.
No, that accurately.
That accurately.
Yeah.
So he then leaves, goes home, and probably had a rest and a shower, whatever he did, and waltzes in at 2:05.
Yeah.
A baby is delivered at 2:03.
No.
How extraordinary is that?
That is incredible.
My point about that is, how do people like that, and there would be hundreds of those sort of men and women right across Australia that are on call to deliver babies at that time of the morning, and there'd be many people listening who delivered babies during the overnight. 133693. How amazing is that process, and what do you do about eating in that situation?
Now, I have clients come to me we have big problems with that, and the issue is that's circadian disruption. You're on call, so you can't plan to eat at a particular time because you might go to bed, get up, and all of a sudden you're at the vending machine at a hospital, like you said, with a doctor that's doing things like that. And what I advise is to have these ready-made snacks on hand, high-protein snacks like protein bars or protein shakes and
that's processed,
things like that.
though, isn't it?
Protein bars, I know, but we've got to be getting that protein in. It is processed. Let's not have the process. It's about moderation. It's about getting something in instead of having nothing. Obviously, we don't function properly with nothing. So, but fruit and a handful of nuts. Like, I see you with your
Nuts.
Fruits and nuts.
Yeah.
And absolutely perfect on night shift. Some hummus and some crackers is really good to have. You can buy those
But
packs
I
now.
can't be sitting here at 2:00 in the morning
Munching on-
talking to people eating hummus. Because then I'd go, well, if we're going to do that, I'd like to have a beverage with it.
Well, of
I'd like
course.
cheeky little,
Cheese
I don't
and
know,
crackers.
cheeky little Margaret River Shardy,
Of course,
or
yeah.
a little sparkling maybe from the Yarra Valley.
Yeah, no.
That would be elegant.
And a platter with some cold cuts on it and everything else.
Oh,
But
gee, I miss those days.
yes. Well, the thing is, we have these people that are getting up in the middle of the night all the time that are running off to on-call people. We have doctors and nurses. We have...
Well, that was my point about those that deliver babies.
Yep. But, we've got a lot of police that are on call as well that are getting turned out in the middle of the night. Paramedics get ramped, stuck at places away from their... like a lot of our paramedic friends, we don't realise they get a structured break into their shift. But that's all well and good when you can get back to your branch. But the majority of the paramedics are stuck ramped at hospitals, particularly here these days, and they can be for extended periods of time with no options of what to eat. So I guide them around that. And in fact, I've produced an ebook, which is free for people like that to download, and it's called Snacks, and it's non-perishable snacks that you can keep in your locker or your kit bag. And people can go to my Instagram, which is at @a_healthy_shift.
And all the details are there.
And they can just hit the word snacks on anything. If you put the word snacks, and it will send you a link to download that. And it is a free resource.
Tony McCann, Roger, I find grandchildren get to sleep. So this is really good. Have a listen to this.
Yeah, I love it.
I find grandchildren get to sleep so much later now. They used to go to sleep at 7:30, and now it can be closer to sometimes 10 and 11 p.m. That is so late. They're in their bed but can't sleep. Try as hard as they can. Took them to the park for an hour today, had a shower, still just went to bed a while ago. At ages 6 and 8, surely that's not enough sleep for the little tackers. What can we do?
It's not enough sleep for the little tackers, and I'm going to give my friend and colleague a really big plug here, which is Dr. Olivia Walsh. We're going to get onto the show in 2 weeks' time, who works out of the University of Minnesota. She's just written her book called Sleep Groove. She has her child sleeping from 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. She's a circadian biologist. She studies light and how it interacts with the body.
There will be mothers listening now right across Australia thinking you're beauty.
Well, Olivia is amazing with the way I've interviewed her twice on the podcast, and she's actually a mathematician, but she's branched into circadian because it's all very rhythmic.
Linked in.
It's all linked in. Now, in answer to this text, not enough daylight, blue light exposure during the day to these children, and then blue light exposure after dark is disrupted.
What does that mean? People have
rhythm.
no idea necessarily what you're talking about when you talk about blue light exposure.
Any white light
so
is blue light.
Outside.
We need light outside. We need that. The sky is that colour blue for a reason, and our eye sees that. But it's hard to explain without a visual presentation. But the thing is, in the spectrum of light that we see is blue, and the eye has a sensor that actually registers that blue. If it sees it, it thinks it's daytime. So it suppresses melatonin and it doesn't allow our body to go to sleep. And this is what these kids are suffering from. So we need to get up and get outside and get that light outside so that we're getting that correct spectrum of blue in our eyes during the day. But at night, we need to take that blue out for the very reason that it is keeping us awake. And this is why children now, because of screens, because of TV, after dark, we need to go to zero blue lighting in all workplaces so that we are not disrupting these circadian rhythms. My house at night is zero blue.
Your calls, the other side, 133693. Keep the text. We'll get to those in just a tick as well. 0477 693 693 is a ripper there too. 6976 will come to yours shortly for Australia Overnight. Roger Sutherland, I'm Tony McManus. Hello to you. For those that have just joined us right across Australia via 6PR in Perth, 5AA in Adelaide, the good people at 3AW right here in Melbourne where we are, Rog. Thank you to each and every one. There's so many texts. Leaf, where's that text from Leaf that called through earlier? Because he was.
I'm going to call you out on that.
He was singing a tune. Leaf is the host of the nighttime program on 5AA. And he says, sing it with me, Tone. You're going home in the back of a dizzy van.
See, now you are clearly showing that you have no idea what this song is.
When I saw it from Leaf, I'm thinking, I don't know what he's talking about.
You actually spoke it, and I then said, and all Victorians that are listening to this now, all together now,
Leaf's,
you're going
Leaf's
home
in, South
in the back of a
He's
divvy
a South
van.
Australian, so it's not just Victorian.
Well, he's aware of it. It's the song that's sung. You're going home in the back of a divvy van.
Oh, divvy van.
Divvy
Oh,
van.
he's got dizzy van there. Okay,
It's
divvy
supposed
van.
to be divvy.
All right.
Yep. That's what it is.
Clap,
And Victorians will be disappointed that you're not aware of that. And I said to you off air, have you never sat in Bay 13? No. Or near it? Because this is all we hear for the Boxing Day test. Every time
You're going home in a divvy van.
You're going home in the back. No, what happens is, you know how when you go to the cricket or you go to a Boxing Day match?
Are we on air?
Oh, I hope so.
Gee, God.
When you go to the Boxing Day test and the police come down and escort someone from...
Oh, I see. So it's like a chant.
It's a chant that they sing, you're going home in the back of a divvy van. That's what it is.
David in Mount Waverley, hello Dave, says, Tony and Roger, lighting requirements, what are they? Blue light at night. What are those requirements if you want to buy something?
It's very simple. No blue light
No
after
blue
dark.
light. Okay.
So if you go to my website, ahealthyshift.com...
It's all there.
And you can go to recommended products, and there are zero blue lights there from a company called Block Blue Light. There is also, they're probably the leading one. And I just think it's really important that we get these zero blue lights into homes once the sun's gone down.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Is it still relevant? According to Maggie, is it Maggie who says that? Apple a day? Where did we see that one? No, that's from John, who says, apple a day keeps the doctor away. I eat one large Bravo apple a day. They're delicious.
Very good. Very good.
And it's
apple
still
a
a thing. I reckon there was...
Fibre, nutrients.
There was a dear old childcare. Remember we had childcare centre? No, you wouldn't remember. Childcare centres. That mums and some dads would take baby to, and they were presumably supported by local councils. There was a sister on High Street, just around the corner from where we lived on Bella Vista Road, called Sister Feltham. And in that little office that she had there were signs all over the place. I remember it as a kid, an apple a day will keep the doctor away. And, you know, like everything, you hear it over and over and over. And I think there is still some truth in that. So I should have some fruit here. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fresh fruit.
Fruit overnight is ideal. And the one thing that we've got to stop in life is we've got to stop demonising fruit for the sugar that's in it, because it's different. And the most important thing is you never ever looked at someone overweight walking down the street and went, "Ooh, they've just eaten far too much fruit."
Every game of cricket ever, says Leafy. He's just texting back. Why don't we take this one? Oh, the police radio operator. It's funny how people jump on board these. The police
And it's all
operator.
different names.
I know. Another one here named Shirl on Matlock Police was played by Margaret Christensen, a popular radio personality actress. That's from Helen in Doncaster.
Yeah, but Google tells me differently.
Somebody different.
Shirley Ann Keir.
That's the one that I've got, Shirley Ann Keir.
Shirley Ann Keir.
Was that the name of the character, or was that the name of the person playing the character Shirley?
On Australian TV series Matlock Police, the character Shirl was played by Shirley Ann Keir.
So her real name
As Judy Brown.
As Judy Brown.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't. So
Another actress named Shirley Smith played the character of Betty Barker in the same series. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. It's all over
Let's
the
give
shop.
up.
I love Roger here, who says, thank you, Roger. David.
Yeah, thank you, Roger. Thank you, David. Roger.
Roger. Thank you, Roger David. We'll do this, come back in just a moment for Australia Overnight. G'day, blokes. I'm friends with US Veterans Motorcycle Club, and I was over in Ohio Clubhouse recently. We were outside the club, and the guy next door was getting arrested, and I started singing. Everyone at the club crapped up laughing at me. That was that song.
Hadn't heard it. There's a song by the Painters and Dockers that was released. You're going home in the back of a divvy van. Let's see if challenge Painters and Dockers. You're going home in the back of a divvy van.
We've got about 30 seconds to
Yeah,
find it because we've got the news. We might do it afterwards.
Come out.
Thank you for coming in. If people want to contact you or have a look at what you do, the best way to do it is?
To go to the website, ahealthyshift.com, or Instagram, _healthy_shift. I look forward to seeing you there.
And have a listen to the podcast, because some of those people to whom you speak are indeed fascinating. Would it kill you to invite them onto the program?
What do you mean? People listening?
Well,
I'll have anyone. If people want to reach out.
But you've got them on the podcast.
Yeah, I've got.
Why don't you ask them to come on this program?
I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
I'll get people onto the podcast. I failed in bringing a guest onto the show this week, which I'm going to bring next to it.
You've had 2 weeks.
I know.
2 weeks.
And one job.
One job. 2 weeks.
I'm sorry. I'll see you next time.
It's nice to see you, Roger. Have a look at it. It's simply called, all one word, ahealthyshift.com, and Instagram at _healthy_shift. The music quiz, Australia Overnight Music Quiz, is next.